Welcome to The Rabbit Hole, Politics and Prose, a production of LibertyNation.com, hosted by Mark Angelides.
Power is hard-won and not easily handed over. History is littered with the victims of the transfer of power. Sometimes those are the aspirants to the throne or military men or ministers, and sometimes it's the people, the innocents who merely supported one person over the other. A media tempest is brewing, demanding that President Trump relinquish his throne and accept Joe Biden as his successor. We're told by gasping pundits that Donald Trump is refusing to hand over the power that has been taken from him in a legitimate vote, and that by refusing to do so, he endangers the very republic. Casting aside the hyperbole for a moment, the Electoral College electors have not yet cast their votes, and numerous lawsuits are underway across the country. No matter how many media outlets refer to Joe Biden as the president-elect, and no matter how many backdrops the former VP stands in front of, emblazoned with the office of president-elect, it doesn't make it so, not yet at least. Has Donald Trump refused to hand over power that is no longer his? In the words of the late Ruth Bader Ginsburg, quote, "The president is elected for 4 years, not 3 years, so the power he has in year 3 continues into year 4, end quote. Even if Joe Biden has won the election fairly and squarely, he is not yet the president and does not yet become president-elect until the exact same process that has happened every 4 years plays out. That his surrogates so desperately want to shirk both tradition and law perhaps tells us something that may not have at first been apparent. There's an air of desperation. Those of a more conspiratorial mindset might presume that those behind the Joe Biden presidency need to cut off power to the president before he can invoke Mark Antony's plea upon the death of Caesar, cry havoc and let slip the dogs of war. Although these were Shakespeare's words, the Roman Republic, and later Empire, provides us a wonderful example of what can happen when power changes hands. Through the circumstances of Caesar's assassination, we understand some motivations and some history, but the aftermath is something we don't as often hear discussed. When Marcus Brutus and his brother-in-law Cassius Longinus began plotting the murder, they sought to build a coalition, a group of respected senators and officials to take part, in order to show that this was not a petty revenge for Caesar's relationship with their mother, Sevilla. They thought that with a united front, the people of Rome would accept that Julius Caesar had to go. What their cohort of conspirators didn't count on was the backlash. The conspirators who said that their reason for killing Caesar was to save the Republic were responsible for its downfall. The people of Rome were furious that this small group of elites conspired and brought down a popular leader. Mark Antony sought to harness this anger and use it to bring down the political faction known as the Optimates. And this may well have happened if it weren't for Caesar naming his grandnephew Gaius Octavius as his heir. Octavius went to war using the enormous inheritance and political power that he could call upon from forming the second triumvirate of himself, Antony, and General Lepidus. The Second Civil War began. Antony and Octavius, they took their 45 legions and utterly destroyed the opposition, leaving the conspirators either dead or removed. But at what cost to the Republic? Eventually, Octavius adopted the name Caesar Augustus, and with it became the first emperor of Rome. The very term emperor, it comes from the word imperator, which meant successful general. The Republic was no more. Nearly all men can stand adversity, but if you want to test a man's character, give him power, said Abraham Lincoln. And he wasn't wrong. When power is gained either through honest ends, trickery, or even brute force, the true nature is revealed. Wielding power strips away the facades, the different layers of spin that have been built upon, and they show the true face. In America, we have leaders who espouse peace and international cooperation, yet when elected they either opt to allow themselves to be led into wars or continue the wars that are already in place. Imagine a politician facing the public in the run-up to an election saying, "I will, in all probability, lead us into another war, one that nobody voted for. And on top of this, I'll continue to engage our forces in theatres that we have no way of actually winning." Good luck getting votes on that platform. Yet this is what reality gives us almost every time. Barack Obama was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize. He ramped up indiscriminate drone murders to an unprecedented level, had American troops engaged in theatres all over the world with no sign of them coming home even to this day, used the Espionage Act to harass journalists, the IRS to go after political opponents. Yet he's regarded as a man of peace by those who wish to capitalize on his legacy. The Greek philosopher Plato wrote, "The measure of a man is what he does with power." Well, our leaders have been measured, and they're found wanting. There's an old gag about Stalin and Khrushchev. Joseph Stalin, knowing that his time left in office was short and that Nikita Khrushchev would soon be assuming the mantle, he offered his successor some help. He handed him 2 letters and said, "Open letter 1 when things seem bad, the first time you're facing serious trouble. And then, when the second serious crisis comes around, open the second letter." So Khrushchev, he started off very well, but things soon mounted up, problems in every area, so he opened the first letter, and all it said was, "Blame everything on me." So he did, and survived the crisis. A little while later, things were getting bad again, so Khrushchev, he opened the second letter, and what it said was, "Write 2 letters." Power is a privilege, but it's also a burden, as each politician can only blame the past for so long before they must accept their own failings. And like Marcus Brutus when captured after the Battle of Philippi, they must, metaphorically at least, fall on their sword. Julius Caesar was told to beware the Ides of March, the 15th of each month. It's a day in Roman society when all debts are to be paid in full. Those who seek power today had better ensure that when the final bill comes due for their conduct in taking power, that they have the full funds to pay.
Go deeper on the topic discussed in this video, head on over to one of these links here or go to our Liberty Nation Roku channel. Thanks so much for watching, and don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell for Liberty.
The Rabbit Hole, Politics and Prose, a LibertyNation.com production.
Available at Libsyn, Apple iTunes, Stitcher, on Roku, and other fine podcast providers.